Thanks for checking out this video. So continuing on with this series that I'm doing in collaboration with your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, we are doing 1982 superlatives, and once again it is 7 categories. It is a film that we had to make sure we picked only for one category, so a lot of these ended up being pretty hard, especially my most amazing pick. That one I could have fit into multiple categories, but had to pick just one, so I picked it for a most amazing, and you'll understand why. Now, polling, make sure that after you watch my video, you go over and watch your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete's video. The link to his channel is in my description, so that's there. And then come back to my channel and vote in our poll for whoever's picks you liked most. Now, Uncle Pete's been outdoing me in the voting and also in the visual aspect of it, because he actually puts in, a picture of the cover art of the film and some clips from the film as well, so that stuff is awesome. I'm not going to get to that level, but to kind of up my visual game just a little bit, it was kind of a joke, I have actual physical media for the picks that I have that are actually in my collection, just to give you an idea, not just so you can visually look at it, but also just in case you were interested in knowing what version of any sort of film I actually own. So I might talk about that just a little bit, but once again, check out his channel, check out my video, come back, vote in the poll and everything. And just so you know, we were going off release date based off of Letterboxd. If you don't have Letterboxd, it's a really good app, or you can just use a website on your computer, but the app works best in my opinion. It's just Letterboxd as it sounds, except there's no E between the X and the D at the end, but highly recommend it. Anyway, let's get into the picks for 1982. So most amazing, this will probably not be a surprise for many people, and I own this film on Blu-ray. It is John Carpenter's The Thing. Probably the best remake ever made, and Uncle Pete and I have actually had conversations about how the best remakes typically have a title of "the" in the beginning. The Thing, The Fly, The Blob, things like that, but I'm sure there are other good ones that don't have "the," but coincidence? I think not. Anyway, John Carpenter, this is my favorite film of his. It's unbelievable. This could have also gone into the best gore category because the practical effects are unreal. I believe Rob Bottin did it, which I have a review on my channel for The Thing, and I accidentally called him Rob Bottin. So if you go and watch my review, just know, I know it's Bottin. I screwed up. But anyway, The Thing, amazing. It's an alien film, but it's so much better than just being a straight-up alien film. I'm not big into, like, alien horror crossover unless it's something kind of like Alien or The Thing in this instance. I think it's way heavier on the horror, so much so that you forget that there's an actual sci-fi element from time to time. But the paranoia that's built in this film and maintained is unbelievable. The writing is wonderful, the directing is wonderful, the music's wonderful, special effects, acting, all of it. Like, everything came together for an epic film that I could watch over and over and over again. And like I said, the ambiance is amazing, the atmosphere is unbelievable, you're paranoid the whole time, you don't know who is the thing and who is not the thing. And it becomes heartbreaking at times when you actually find out who the things are. Great, 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 unbelievable film. I'm going to be surprised if Uncle Pete doesn't also pick this for best film or for most amazing, but I could see him putting it in best gore, which I would understand that. And I could also see him putting it in most unique. But I would say, as a counterpoint to anyone who would put it in their category for most unique, it is a remake. So would that disqualify it for most unique? I kind of think maybe. But anyway, most amazing film, The Thing, obviously. All right, so the So Bad It's Good film. This is another one I own because you know how I love these So Bad It's Good films. Now, I have a very interesting version of this film, and it is Basket Case by Frank Henenlotter. This was the very first So Bad It's Good horror film I ever saw, and I fell in love immediately. Well, immediately when I was watching it, I'm like, what is going on? What am I watching? And it was just so terrible. I was like, can you enjoy this? And then the answer by the end was, yes, you certainly can enjoy this. So this, a little bit biased on this pick because it was my first So Bad It's Good horror love. Now, this version I actually have is a German trilogy issue. It has Basket case 1 through 3. Yes, there are 3 basket cases if you don't know. And if you like the first one, I would definitely recommend watching 2 and 3. So I can't read anything with like the special features or anything because on the back, I don't know if you can see that, but it's written in German, and on the inside, the insert, you know, it's in German. So I can't read anything, but guess what? It plays just fine, and it's in English. So, yeah. I actually, when I got this, it was the last copy that they had through Diabolic DVD, which is where I buy a good deal of my physical media. But basket case, unbelievable, ridiculous story. The character of Belial is just so over the top and ridiculous. The character of Dwayne, like, not good acting at all, but it is that category of so bad it's good and fun acting. And just how over the top Belial is and how wacky and crazy, and just his design. The stop motion freak out in the film of him, unbelievable. And then at the very end of the film, like, it just goes all over the place. And goes places people didn't think it would go, or probably didn't want it to go. But that's Frank Henenlotter, always crazy, always entertaining. I wouldn't be surprised if Uncle Pete puts this in the best WTF film, which is the next category I'm going to. But yeah, basket case, love it. So I do not own the pick that I have for most WTF film, but that is Pieces. A lot of people call Pieces a giallo film. It's not technically a giallo film. Giallo inspired, yes, but it's not straight up giallo. Really crazy film. WTF, you know, you started out with the puzzle being made, the kid's mom gets killed, and then you have the bloody puzzle. You have the relics of this initial crime showing up throughout the film. You have people getting offed and not knowing who's responsible for it. I don't want to ruin it if people haven't seen it, but the very end scene, if you've seen it, you know what I mean. It is probably the most WTF moment I've seen in a film, maybe ever, just because it seems like it comes out of left field, insanely out of left field. I mean, once you then think back on, you know, the actual story of the film that you watched, it makes a lot of sense. But when you're seeing it as it's unfolding for the first time, it is this just confusing, wacky, crazy thing. And then after that big reveal, the way they end the film is just another crazy out of left field thing that you did not see coming, that actually doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in my opinion. But hey, love Pieces, a lot of fun. That's my my most WTF film. Best Gore. So for Best Gore, I'm going Dario Argento in his bloodiest film, and I do own this one. Tenebrae. Really enjoy this. I think I always have this dilemma of, is Tenebrae my favorite Dario Argento film, or is it Deep Red? I keep going back and forth. Both have really great brutality and gore in it. Tenebrae is the goriest film that Dario Argento has done. Now, you don't see a lot of like guts and insides and stuff like that in the film, but the blood is copious. And when the blood is spilling, it is crazy. It is so much. My favorite kill in it is obviously the most bloody one, where the woman has her part of her arm cut off, and just blood, like in buckets and buckets and buckets of blood just flying out of the stump all over the wall, just all over the place. When I first saw that scene, I was shocked. Not in the way that like it was horrific or anything to me. I was just shocked at how over the top that blood goes. So that is why I'm picking Tenebrae as best gore. Probably mainly for that scene, but if you do go back and watch all the kills, there's still a good deal of blood in those kills, except for like the one where the guy gets strangled, like that's bloodless. But a lot of people getting hit with axes, including one person in the head, and they provide plenty of blood throughout. But yeah, Dario Argento's Tenebrae is my best gore pick for 1982. Now, I don't own the next one for most unique. I should own it, and it's on my list to eventually own, and that is Creepshow, the original Creepshow. The reason I put it in there is because it's not new to do an anthology film. There had been anthology films done before it, but it was such a unique film at that time as far as anthology goes, even though Monster Club was just a few years earlier. People really took note of it, and it really did start a trend. The other thing is a lot of all the stories in it, I think, are unique stories. You know, the people on the beach getting buried up to their neck, the box with Fluffy, everyone knows what I'm talking about. The very racially charged commentary on society in the very last one with the cockroaches. That one, and also like the craziness of that is insane. The fact that they worked with real cockroaches and it was a crazy amount that they literally blew through a tube in the end scene where it's coming out of the guy's stomach. Just it's my most unique because at that time it kicked off people wanting to do more anthology films. It kind of popularized anthology films a lot more. And like I said, the story is very, very unique, very interesting, and all Stephen King like. And also, I love the quirkiness and the kind of like humor of the Jordy Verrill story where the comet comes out of space and it's actually Stephen King in the role of Jordy Verrill. So I like that. So Creepshow, my most unique. Most overrated. Now, a lot of people are going to have beef with me on this one. I do like the film. I do enjoy the film, but I just think that the hype that's gone on around it, especially within the past bunch of years, it's overblown. And that is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I enjoy Halloween 3 Season of the Witch from the standpoint of a so bad it's good film. It is fun. I do watch it from time to time. I don't own it, although one day I probably will. It's been on my list, but people hype it so much that you would think that it's like the best thing since sliced bread. It's not that awesome. For me personally, I understand where some people just go crazy with it, but for me personally, I think this is an overrated film. Also, the fact that it gets talked about so much. I think a big reason why it gets talked about is that Joe Bob Briggs has refused for so long to cover it on The Last Drive-In, which I think that he may end up actually finally doing it. That may be his 100th film shown as The Last Drive-In on Shudder. But I think he will do it eventually. Maybe sooner than later, we'll find out. But I think that's kind of built up the hype around it. It's kind of taken on its own thing. But it's definitely a weird film. You know, the whole Shamrock Corporation with the masks that kind of turn people into basically bugs and snakes eventually. It's kind of a really odd out of nowhere story. I could definitely see someone putting this as their most WTF film of 1982 for sure. Tom Atkins is a lot of fun in it. It's like got a mystery aspect to it, but it also kind of feels like it's very much like The Stuff, even though it's before The Stuff. But I would just prefer to watch The Stuff if I'm going to watch a film like this. But like I said, you know, I will watch Halloween 3 Season of the Witch here and there. But that's my most overrated pick. Then going to the last one, which I do own on DVD, and I was introduced to this film by a good friend of mine who showed it to me. Oh man, it had to be like 15 years ago or more now. And then he was downsizing his DVD collection at the time because people weren't really doing Blu-rays at that point. He was downsizing his DVD collection and he just gave it to me because he was like, "Is there anything you want?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want Q the Winged Serpent." So I've owned this DVD since. It is awesome. I don't know if you want to get a closer look. I mean, that cover art's pretty cool, let's be honest. A Larry Cohen film, a very unapologetically Larry Cohen film. Michael Moriarty stars in it. If you like Michael Moriarty in The Stuff, he is the same type of actor. He brings the same type of performance in Q, the Winged Serpent. It's ridiculous. Just about this gigantic, basically dinosaur that is existing in modern day because there's a cult built around it. And it's just going around killing people in the city. And the way they shot it, like they shot the whole film and then they inserted the actual serpent, Q the Winged Serpent, afterwards. And they didn't even have a design for it either. So when they went to the people who were supposed to actually put the stop motion together for the serpent, they were like, "Okay, where do we need to fit this in?" And they were like, "Oh, we already shot the film." So they were kind of shocked at that point. But man, it is a so bad it's good film, but I just feel like it doesn't get enough love. It doesn't get talked about nearly enough. I know Joe Bob Briggs showed it on The Last Drive-In some years back, but I think it just fizzled out after that. Like people were kind of high on it for like a month or so, and then people haven't really talked about it that much. But I know by having it on this list as my pick for most underrated that I'm going to be getting some comments of people just being like, "Oh, dude, I love Q the Winged Serpent. I love that film." So definitely want to hear from those people. But yep, Q the Winged Serpent rounds it out as my most underrated for 1982. Whew, this was probably picks wise my favorite year thus far. And one of the really cool things that I've been seeing with people commenting is that they have been saying that they're hearing about films that they didn't know about, and now they're going to go watch them. Love hearing that. I love hearing that. And why don't you go ahead and contribute? Put some comments down there about what you think about my picks, what you think about your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete's picks, who's, his link is in the description. And then also give me your picks for each category, because maybe there are films that you're going to throw out there that I haven't seen yet, and I put those on my watch list. But we'll find out. Stay tuned for next week when we put up our videos for 1983. Don't forget to vote. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete's channel. We really would appreciate that. Hit the notification bell buttons on both our channels as well. But regardless, thank you for checking these out. Thank you for being a part of this. It's been a lot of fun. And until next time, keep it brutal.